All right, y'all. Welcome back to my recap of season 4 of the Traitors, episode 5. All right, so let's start with last episode, episode 4. Caroline Stansberry from Housewives of Dubai and Tiffany, who's been on multiple shows, I believe, Big Brother and Challenge USA. She was eliminated, sadly. I didn't care about Caroline, but I don't know Tiffany, but it was just a sad departure. So anyway, due to the mission where they had to set some big creatures ablaze, Monet was on the chopping block, and unfortunately, Monet was eliminated by the traitors because he said Lisa's name. And Candace told Lisa, which I wish she wouldn't told her that Candace should have let it play out a little bit longer and maybe just shift Monet's thoughts to Ron. Why didn't she do that? I wanted to see Monet last a little longer. All right, so anyway, and again, I remind y'all, I tried to grab screenshots of the show, but I guess because of trademark or whatever, those screenshots came out black. So I'm gonna try to do my best with pictures and clips throughout the recap, or I might just come on screen to do the recaps. We'll see. So at the breakfast, when they're trying to figure out who didn't survive the night, Natalie, Eric, Candace, Dorinda come in. They feel bad about Tiffany going home. They're suspecting Ron as a traitor. Then Colton, Kristen, and Rob come in. Kristen is behind the scenes or in her confessional saying that Colton is fishy. You know, Colton keeps trying to say who's traitor, but maybe he's a traitor. And they talk about Michael. Candace says Michael has 9 lives. All right, Michael, RAPAPORT, Jam, and Ron come in. There's a convo about Colton and his time on The Bachelor as a gay man. I don't know about y'all, but as a straight woman and as a reality TV show watcher, I mean, it does strike a nerve that Colton was on The Bachelor and something else as a straight man, and then all of a sudden he says he's gay, or he comes out as gay. I know, people struggle and how hard it is to come out of the closet, but for some reason I don't believe that Colton didn't know he was gay before he was on the show, on The Bachelor. Me personally don't, but I don't know. But they do have that combo because I don't think Dorinda knew that Colton was straight on The Bachelor. And it's funny, Dorinda flirts with, I think, Colton and Rob during this breakfast scene. Then we have Mara, Lisa, and Steven come in. Steven seems very unsuspecting outside of Michael thinking one of the hot throbs is a traitor. And then Tara and Johnny come in together, which is funny because they're trying to act like they don't really know each other like that, but they send them in together. And then we realize that Monet never shows up to breakfast. That hurts my heart. Monet's gone. Monet looked dang good. God, I don't know what. I know Monet, has always looked good, but I think he's on his weight loss journey. He's on his because I watch Monet and Bob the Drag Queen's podcast. So I've seen Monet's latest glow up with his body. He's just he's a gorgeous man. So when they showed him with the blazer, with all the brooches, that color looked good with his skin. He looks good in his confessional, y'all. Monet looked good. And he said he was going to ectoplasm all these hoes. Whatever that means. But he opened his big mouth to Candace, and Candace, had to tell Lisa. So anyway, moving on. Monet is gone. He outlasted Bob, the drag queen, which is his best friend. Not much longer, but he outlasted him from last season. So, okay, we got Tara. I wrote Tara, Lisa, Kristen, and Candace down for some reason. I think they think that Ron's a traitor, but Ron is going for Dorinda this episode. Ron is on the bad faithful. He's in the bad faithful category because he keeps pointing out the wrong people like Colton does. Mara asks, questions. Why are they following Colton's lead? They're having discussions after breakfast or whatever in their little groups and their little huddles. And Mara's like, why are we following Colton's lead? Good question, Mara. But y'all keep doing it. Y'all keep doing it. Kristen, who's from Top Shelf or whatever, says that she thinks Colton is a traitor. Okay, so they're all putting their stuff out there. Then we have the mission. They have to search a fountain for coins. Candace was funny in this scene because, she didn't want to get her hair wet and all that stuff. And they're having to get through this fountain and reignite the fountain or whatever restore the fountain by getting these big, heavy statues. They're saying if no one takes a shield, then there won't be a murder that night. So we don't know yet if anyone took a shield or not. So they kind of go back and forth with that. They have to work, in teams to carry these statues somewhere to restore the fountain. And during, the scene, everybody contemplates, should we get a shield? Should we not get a shield? Some of those statues had one shield under them. Some of them had 4 shields under them. So we still don't know if anyone grabbed the shield or not. But anyway, they get a lot of coins. They so far have collected $106,000 throughout the missions, y'all. So they're on a roll. They're doing better than season 3 did as far as, winning money. So on to the round table. Dorinda and Ron go at it because Ron says it's Dorinda. She's the traitor. Dorinda calls him a housewives hunter. Because he got Portia out, y'all. And Portia wasn't even a freaking traitor. So it's like, okay, Ron, are you just stupid or are you just leading everyone to believe the housewives are a traitor because it's easy? You think it's easy to get a housewife out? I don't know. Surely he's not, I don't know. But anyway, Colton and Michael kind of go at it. And then Eric and Natalie jump on the Michael train. Everybody says Michael is distracting. Mara says Michael RAPAPORT talks too much. So, Michael has to defend himself. In my opinion, Dorinda, I don't know if they played everything, but Dorinda doesn't do too good of a job of defending herself. But the heat gets off of Dorinda, of course, because everybody wants Michael out. Michael won't shut up. And then apparently Michael says something about if anybody knows how to hold a secret, it's Colton. Doom, doom, doom. Everybody gets offended. In my opinion, everybody's too sensitive. And I like how the producers let Michael defend himself and let Michael explain himself and let Michael apologize for what he said. He's been said, a lot of times he talks a lot and sometimes he comes off as offensive. That's just how he's always been. He's a talker, he comes off as a bad man or whatever, but he's really not like that. But the round table gets heated. It gets heated. And Colton's like, you don't make me feel good. Get Colton out of there. Get Colton out of there. I'm sick of Colton. I grew to love I forgot the boy's name again. Zac Efron's brother from last season. I ended up liking him. He ended up being a well-liked person at the end of things. But he worked my nerves last season, just pointing fingers at people and always trying to sniff and figure it out. Instead of just chilling, Well, Colton gets offended and Johnny Ware gets offended. It's like, I want you out of my castle. And so, Michael doesn't stand a chance. But Lisa's like, no, Lisa and Candace stick to their guns and they vote for Ron. But for the most part, people vote Michael and Michael gets banished. Michael gets banished. Colton says, you don't make me feel good. You don't make me feel good. So after Michael gets banished, I think they start talking again. And I put their first initial. I think it's Eric, Kristen, and Mara. Now they want Colton out. Colton is now setting his sights on Lisa because he's saying Lisa is wearing sunglasses all the time, and Lisa described what happened at the face-to-face really well. And yeah, she described it well because she saw it 3 times. So Colton is on Lisa's tail. So hopefully, when the traitors deliberate, Candace tells Lisa that Colton, well, I think it's Candace and Rob tell Lisa that Colton is on to Lisa. So Lisa's like, oh no, he gotta go. He got to go. All right, so, Rob hears Colton talk about Lisa, and Rob was like, I'm going to try my best to defend Lisa, but if, they're on her tail too much, I don't know how much I can do. But when they deliberate, Rob tells Lisa that Colton is on to her. And Lisa's like, oh no, he got to go. He got to go. They show Tara and Johnny. Tara gets on Johnny's lap. They're both figure skaters. They're close, but they miss each other because they're still trying to act like they're not that cool. So they have to sneak and love each other. So yeah, next week is a Cabin in the Woods episode. I'm looking forward to the episode 6. Now they're going to start doing just one episode a week. Looks like it's going to be scary. I like the overall theme of the scary, the murder, the dark, versus the light that we see, the colorfulness we see at the breakfast, the food. Of course, I'm a Houston foodie. I love the breakfast scenes. The tables are decorated nice. They're in a good mood. Then there's this ongoing thing about the salmon. My boy Mark Ballas did a video or reel about how you feel when you get the last piece of salmon. I'm going to play that here. It is so funny. I like that Mark is, unsuspecting, but he's still playing the game. He's good with the missions. They want to keep people that are good for the missions. And, Michael is okay with the missions, but he just was too distracting and too loud, and they can't figure out who the traitor is because Michael is so loud and boisterous. But I think what really sealed the deal with him is him and the gay comment. He offended a lot of people when he said that. And one thing Bob and Boston Rob said during their official Traitor podcast is that Traitors is different. When you say something that offends someone, you got to go. They're real sensitive. Bob the drag queen said that, he said something offensive to Zac Efron's brother. And he said that Zac Efron couldn't act or whatever. And they were like, come on. No, why'd you do that? Why you say that? So, I don't know. But anyway, this show is funny. It's entertaining. It's suspenseful. I love the quote unquote characters. I love how, the traitors are playing the game. They're unsuspecting, but they're still participants, at every turn. I'm loving the season, y'all. I hated that Michael had to go. I wanted Michael to continue. I wanted Tiffany to continue on, but I'm not mad about anybody else. Ian, Caroline, what's his name? Ron, whatever his name is. And I'm mad about Portia. Portia should still be there. I think Eric should be gone and Kristen should be gone. Bye-bye. So let me know who y'all think needs to go or should be gone by now and who y'all want to, make it to the end. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification button so you don't miss any of my videos. Bye.